Today I want to introduce you to my favorite contraption that I've built so far, and probably forever. It's something I've been wanting to build and kind of had in the back of my mind for about 10 years now, and I've finally got it completed as of a couple of months ago. Been driving it around a lot and just thrilled to death with it. This is a 1990 full-size Chevrolet K5 Blazer. Bought it about, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago. It was completely stock. An architect owned it, and he used it to commute back and forth to the office and to his hunting property. Well, I began at the axles and worked my way back up the drivetrain towards the engine. First I swapped out the axles. Took the half-ton axles out and replaced them with 1-ton units. The front is Dana 60, and the rear is a General Motors corporate 14-bolt. Well, from there on, I swapped in a SM465 transmission. Took out the automatic 700R4. I didn't much care for it too much. So there used to be an automatic gear shifter here. There is none anymore. Well, that was all good and fine, but I needed more. So then I took out the 350 gasoline engine and I swapped in a 4-cylinder turbocharged Cummins B series. This is essentially the same diesel engine that you get in a Dodge Ram pickup truck, missing 2 cylinders though. It's a 4-cylinder version of a 6BT Cummins. Let's start it up. This thing always starts really quick. Of course, I don't live in a very cold climate, but I've always been really impressed. It usually turns over once or twice before it starts to fire. Neutral, and the thing I like about the 4-cylinder Cummins is it only weighs, I think, about 750 or so pounds. So it's a lot lighter than the 6BT. Plus it's a little shorter and it gets ridiculously good fuel economy. I estimate I'm averaging upwards of 20 miles to the gallon with this thing now. Anyway, it was several months in the making. I had to do a lot of fabrication, a lot of thinking, a lot of measuring. I wanted to retain my stock cooling fan, so I had to be very mindful of where I located the motor mounts and how I installed everything. The brakes run off of a Hydro Boost system from a 6.2 diesel pickup truck. Since diesel engines don't generate any manifold vacuum, you can't run a regular vacuum booster like with a car. Let's see. This engine came out of a Frito-Lay van. These engines are used though in a variety of different applications, anywhere from agricultural water pumps to standby generators to tractors, backhoes, other construction equipment. The air filter I got off of eBay. It's actually for a Dodge truck with the Cummins diesel. I figured if it'll power the 6-cylinder version of this motor, it should do really well on my 4-cylinder model. Plus the other advantage is I can walk into any parts store and tell them I've got a 97 Dodge Ram and I need an air filter for it. I wanted to keep all the parts on this as common as possible so that I could readily service it for years to come out of any old local parts store. to get it in here and made it up to the rest of the drivetrain, I decided to use a Dodge adapter. Now, they do make an engine adapter for this thing that will bolt to a Chevrolet transmission. It uses a Chevrolet bell housing pattern, because some Chevrolet P30 chassis vans actually came with this, or had this engine installed in them later on as a repower. Well, I thought about going that route, but then I decided to go with the Dodge stuff, because if you use Dodge components, you get a 13-inch clutch versus a 12-inch clutch. The input shaft is a lot bigger in the transmission, and the clutch itself is more robust. Also, the Dodge version clutch, you swap it in with the new Venture 4500 transmission, which is 5-speed with overdrive, then you get an external slave cylinder versus the GM internal slave cylinder. So if anything happens to your clutch system, you can service it without having to remove the transmission.
Okay, now we're in haul-ass mode. We're in a tractor truck.
Because a 1995
reverse.
with a 4-cylinder diesel goes really fast.
You're gonna use that? We're going to reverse. Yeah, that means backwards. This is basically a non-stop blazer. I don't have a seatbelt on. Go ahead. Self-incriminate. Okay.
That's first gear, just to show you how slow it is on the new Venture 4500 transmission. Second. Third. About 40 miles an hour, and you can get up to about 50 in 4th gear, and then go to 5th gear, you can get up to 60 or 70. So, having overdrive is a godsend, because it allows you to drive on the freeway when you desire to do so. It keeps that good fuel economy that these turbo diesels are known for.
Shifting with the new Venture Chevrolet 4500 transmission.
Yeah, they've come a long way over the years with their cigar. Normally when you drive a turbocharged engine and you've gotten up to operating temperature for a while, you typically want to sit and let it idle for a couple of minutes before you shut it down. And that allows the oil to cool, and it cools the cartridge bearings in your turbocharger down. But since we just went through the neighborhood, I'm not too afraid to go ahead and shut it down.